Hi, I'm Mark Hoebee, Producing Artistic Director here at Paper Mill Playhouse, and welcome to Director's Viewpoint. I'm so excited. We have our director with us today for this upcoming production of Sister Act, Steve Beckler. Hey, Steve.
Hey there, Mark. Great to be here.
Great to be back here.
Back here, yeah. 1993, Lend Me a Tenor.
Oh my goodness, that's great. I love that show, Ken Loudwig farce.
Yeah.
And that was a terrific cast.
It was Bob Cuccioli, Judy Blazer, right? Patrick Quinn. It was a wonderful group.
Right.
Wonderful group.
So it's been a few years.
Yes.
Took us a while to get you back here.
Thank you for having me back.
I'm thrilled, and I love this show, Sister Act. I love it so much. It's just got everything. It's funny. Great score, moving right. Story, and hilarious.
And a great message.
A great message.
You know, which comes out, for me, it's nothing matters more than love. In fact, every time I say that line, I start to get a little, emotional. But that's the end of the show that you're talking about.
It's so funny because I think most people know that this was born out of the Whoopi Goldberg film, right?
Right.
And has taken on a little bit of a different life, obviously becoming a stage musical. But I don't know any better message right now than that exact what you've just said.
Yeah, and the thing is, the film, of course, had a jukebox score. Mm-hmm. This has a great score.
By our good friend,
Alan Menken.
The one and only Alan Menken.
And great lyrics by Glenn.
Yeah, Glenn Slater.
Sensational lyrics. In fact, Janet and I, our choreographer, we were talking about that last night. The lyrics, if you listen to them carefully in Mother Superior Song in Act 2, and there was another moment that Janet was talking about, I thought these lyrics are so smart. Yeah. And I think, I don't know whether underappreciated is the right word, but, he's great. He really is one of our best lyricists.
I agree, and their collaboration together, Glenn's been here a couple of times. So let's go back. So obviously you were here in whatever year that was with Lend Me a Tenor. But talk about, what's your relationship to Sister Act? How did you come to the project?
Well, Sister Act was Jerry Zaks directing, and Jerry Zaks we go all the way back to the original Grease together. He came into the Broadway show as a replacement for Kenickie. And there was another director in that show too, Walter Bobby, who was the original Roger, and over the years I've stage managed for both of them on Broadway.
Wow.
Jerry and I, actually our first show together was the national tour. It was Jerry's first big musical, the national tour of Tap Dance Kid. Mm-hmm. What a cast that was. Hinton Battle, a 12-year-old Dulé Hill who can tap his brains out. He's one of the great hoofers, young people hoofers. And then the father was played by Harold Nicholas of the Nicholas Brothers.
Oh, wow.
And the show, is the show, and it has a wonderful message and has great heart, brilliant choreography by Danny Daniels. But the highlight for me every night was the big finale, which was a challenge between Dulé Hill, Harold Nicholas, and Hinton. And it was sensational. I never got tired of watching it. Anyway, then we came back to New York. Jerry was doing House of Blue Leaves up at the Beaumont, and I moved in, I replaced the stage manager on that show. I took it downtown to the Plymouth, which is now the Schoenfeld, I believe.
I can't remember. I still call theaters by their old names, right?
I do too. So anyway, yeah, we did that, and let's see, Anything Goes national tour. And then after Anything Goes national tour, we did, back downtown, we did Lend Me a Tenor at the Royale, which is now...
and the Royale where Grease actually played. It didn't start there, I don't think, did it?
No, it started off Broadway and then moved to the Broadhurst, but then ran for over 8 years at the Royale.
That's right.
Yeah. I did a lot of years at the Royale. And anyway, so Lend Me a Tenor, and that was the first time I put out a national tour. Was the Lend Me a Tenor national tour with Barry Nelson. Mm-hmm. And then after tenor, we went back up to Lincoln Center and did 6 Degrees of Separation. That was Jerry's second Tony Award. And then we went back downtown for Guys and Dolls. And of course, I put out the national tour, and Mark was in the national tour.
I was in the national tour.
Mark, you should say, 3 of our male dancers in that ensemble were?
Well, there was a lot of really incredible people in that company. That was the tour that went out from the Broadway version was Faith Prince and Nathan.
Nathan.
And it went out on the road with Louis Stadlin
Right.
and Lauren Luft,
Right.
who was great. And I was a replacement in that show.
Oh.
Yeah, I joined the tour when
Got
it was
it.
in D.C.
Yeah.
But I remember I danced right next to a very young and lithe Andy Blankenbuehler.
Andy Blankenbuehler.
Sergio Trujillo was
Sergio.
also in that show. Chris Catelli.
Chris Catelli. 3 top choreographers in that male
I
ensemble.
know, it was great. It was a really spectacular production. And I did get to work with Jerry
Right.
on that. He was in D.C. at the time. I've always found him such... he is an actor's director because he's been an actor.
Right.
He loves working with actors. He
Right.
loves talking to them, figuring out... And he's funny. He just understands comedy. But it's comedy with heart,
Right.
which is what Guys and Dolls is.
Of
So
course.
a lot of people see it as a cartoon, but it's not. And that's what Sister Act 2 is, right?
Right.
It's a comedy,
Right.
but with heart, which is
Right.
why he's so good at it.
Right, right. Well, after all those years, we wound up at Sister Act, which was my last show as a stage manager. I finally said enough, don't want to do it anymore. And this is, I think, my 7th production of Sister Act now.
Wow.
We started with the UK tour, which is this production. That's the first time we had this footprint.
Right.
Which it's very different, than, obviously, than the Broadway show. Then we put out the first national tour, then the second national tour. Then I went and put it up in Brazil, and then Algonquin. And anyway, here we are now,
At Playhouse.
lovingly recreating it.
Well, and we are so excited because this show, we promised it to our subscribers and patrons before the pandemic. And
right.
you remember,
Right.
we were in rehearsal for this show in New York City
Right.
in March of 2020.
And closed down on the famous Friday the 13th.
We didn't close on the 13th.
No,
though.
we didn't.
But yes, but it was Friday the 13th, if everybody remembers that infamous day where Broadway shut down.
Right.
And we were in rehearsal, and I remember Mike Stotts, our managing director, and myself, we went in and we had to say to the company, we're going to close down for 2 weeks.
2
Remember
weeks.
that?
2 weeks.
It's just going to be a 2-week shutdown. But the company pushed back. Do you remember that?
Saying we want to work
Yes.
one more day, yeah.
They had been in rehearsal, and it was the end of the very first week, and they had learned the entire Act One.
Right.
And although we were all supposed to leave the studios and go home, the company said, and you came to me and said, the company would really like to come back, because that was the end of Friday, we were in the end of the day.
Right.
Could we come back in the morning and just run the act
Right.
and leave it cleanly?
Right.
So when we come back in 2 weeks, we're ready to... And so I said yes, and I remember how delightful it was to, just the joy in that company and the excitement, thinking we'd be back in a couple of weeks.
Right, right.
And now here we are, 2 years, and I don't even know how many months later.
Well, it was March, so April, May, June.
Right, so yeah, two
2
years.
years and 2 months, exactly, actually, to the day that we went back into rehearsals.
And how amazing that we were able to assemble about, I guess, like 90% of the company came
Absolutely,
back.
absolutely.
And that we can bring it and finally put it on stage. And one of the things that I thought was so moving that I didn't learn until we were at our first day, we're calling this Sister Act Resurrected because it's come back to life. That some of the cast members had been on a group text chat
Right.
for that entire time.
This is actually not since Greece, which is celebrating its 50th year this year. And as a matter of fact, my luck, but Sunday, June 5th is the big launch party and reunion for the book.
Which is our opening night.
Our opening night, and I said, "Well, sorry, I can't be there."
You're directing a show.
But here we are here. So, but that Grease company has kept in touch with each other for 50 years, and I think Sister Act is doing the exact same thing. It's a real. It's a loving, it's a loving group of people. In fact, Akron, or Curtis, said that to me on the first day of rehearsal. He said, "There's something very special in this, after you made your speech," and Mike introduced himself, and he said, "There's just something very special in this room." I said, "This is a very, loving group of people," and I said, "You just watch, you just watch." And I can also say this is an extraordinary cast.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to talk a little bit about that because
I just
they're
love this
amazing.
group. We're it's more than having a great time. You sit back every now and then and just take great pride in. I feel very moved at times during this rehearsal,
Right.
just watching this group, together.
So the show kind of rides on the actress who's Dolores Van Cartier,
Right,
right?
right.
And that was the role that Whoopi played in the movie, and then it was Patina Miller in the Broadway production.
Right.
So when you're
And can I interject?
Sure.
In the UK tour, it was
Yes.
Cynthia Erivo,
oh, Cynthia
who
Erivo,
was pretty darn good in that part.
and we're looking forward to. Of course, we saw her in Color Purple, and
Right.
we're looking forward to her in the Wicked movie.
Yeah.
But so when you're looking for, because I want to talk about the woman who's playing the role, who's I think very special in our
Yes.
production. So when you're looking, and you've cast it many times, when you're looking for that actress, what are the things you look for that makes a successful Dolores?
Good question. I mean, you start with the voice,
Yeah.
because it's as tough a vocal track as I think I've ever heard, and also I think the dynamic. And I should also credit our casting director, Chad Murnane, who said, "I've got someone I can't wait for you to see," and indeed, when she walked into the room and started speaking the words, and it had a different life, because we had women audition for us that had played the part before.
Right, I remember.
And it just, what sets someone apart and makes you, I heard Jerry say this once, you can't help but want to listen to them when they speak. And that's how I feel about our Dolores here. She's just, Nicole Vanessa Ortiz is amazing. And she has technique that, this is after the fact, after she's been cast. She has technique that is so valuable in the rehearsal process. It's one thing to see an actor do something and say, that's what it is, you found that moment. It's another thing when they can just give it to you and reproduce it day after day after day.
And yet seemingly feel like it's brand new.
Absolutely.
And I do have to say, that is one of the challenges, sitting in your chair as a director, but also as a producer. People come in and audition, and if you don't know them, they walk in the room and they do what they do, and you think, wow, that's great. And that's why I think callbacks are so valuable. You have to see them again and see, can they repeat what they did?
Right.
And then can you work with them? Can you give them an adjustment? Can they take something new? Can they mold or listen to? Can you work together?
Right.
And I don't know about you, but more than one time, I've been in a situation where an actor has come in and given a great audition, but that was it.
Right.
That was the performance. That's all you got. That's not the case with with Nicole.
Yeah, no,
Right?
not at all. No, she's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
She blew me away because I had only seen, and I didn't know her.
Right.
She came in, and I loved her audition, but and I'd only seen that Act One run through 2 years and so many ago, and I hadn't been in rehearsal with you a lot. We'd been protecting the company for COVID and those things and trying to stay clear, and I was just blown away by her performance.
She's amazing.
She owns that role. She walks out on stage exactly like you talk about. She demands, in the best way, I mean, to be seen and heard.
Absolutely.
She is there, and you are going to listen to her, and she is full of joy and energy and excitement, and it's like all of that sparkle that you look for. That's sort of the thing you can't describe, right?
It.
That's exactly. I was trying to think of it.
It's just
the it factor, right?
Right. And no, she may, I think, become one of our best Doloreses that we've ever had. And,
great.
And the good news is, it's not just the Dolores. It's Mother Superior, Jen Allen. I think is
Jennifer
amazing,
Allen,
absolutely amazing. And Akron, our Curtis. I mean,
And Jennifer has done the show before, but Akron is brand new.
brand new.
Not ever done
Brand
Sister
new.
Act before, and new to us as well. Jennifer's performed here a couple of times.
Right.
We won't say the year, but she and I, the very first time I stepped on stage at Paper Mill, I was an actor, dancer in New York. I was in a production of Oklahoma.
Really?
And I was third cowboy from the left. I was nobody, and she was Ado Annie.
Oh my gosh.
She was amazing.
Well, I won't ask how long ago. Well,
It was a while ago.
it was a while ago. Yeah.
But it was great. She was spectacular. And then she actually went and I think she was one of Faith's covers in Guys and Dolls.
I'm sure she was.
Yeah.
The first cover was Victoria Clark.
That's right.
Who played Mother Superior in Sister
In
Act
this,
Number.
right.
It all comes full circle.
You know, it's funny that I don't think people realize what a small world the New York theater Broadway community is, and how, you know, Jennifer and I met here in that, you know, world of Oklahoma many years ago, and then she came back and was in Carnival here. But to reunite in this situation is so exciting, and all the old great feelings come back.
It's a treat.
But we have a great group of sister women too.
And the Thugs.
The Thugs, yes.
Amazing, just amazing. Now, we have, I think, as good a cast at Sister Act as we've ever had.
And also Diane Finley, who's our Mary Laz, who was here in, I think, Funny Girl a million years ago, and also one of our favorites, Belinda Allen, who is playing Sister Mary Robert.
What a voice.
Yeah.
What a voice.
She was, she's the surprising one who sort of, you know, surprises us with her joy and exuberance. But, you know, so you and Janet have done, put several companies of the show together,
we're just attached to the hip at
Janet
this point.
Rothermel, who's our choreographer, who's lovingly recreating Anthony's work. So, and it must be exciting for you to revisit the show because it's so good, but also with people who are new to the project, like Nicole, like Akron, who are creating kind of a new version of it here, right?
Akron especially, because he's so different than the way this role has been played in the past. But I think you said it yourself, he's scary.
He has danger. It's that combination, exactly what you want, which is great sex appeal and charisma and danger at the same time. Which, you know, the comedy and the whole spirit of the piece, if there's no danger, if we're not afraid for Dolores of being found or discovered or whatever, there's no show there.
Well, this is very different than the London version of Sister Act. And in the London version was directed by someone whose name I can't even remember at this point. But the thing is, the London production was so obvious. The Curtis was a villain, you know, twirling his butt. And this is, as I said, has that Jerry sense of humor about it, and loving touch, which makes this difference. So
I do think that what is so great about the show, it circles back to just what you were talking about at the beginning, is you know, I think people know the story, the basic plot points, which is that Dolores witnesses a murder and has to hide in a convent. Well, she's being protected by the police, but that what she finds there is actually a family and a sisterhood and a group of people that she loves. And it's very moving at the end, right? Not only for her, but for the Mother Superior character, and for those women who their lives are about this church and this place, and it's surprisingly moving at the end.
Well, Dolores brings great joy to the convent. And anyway,
we don't want to give too much of it away, but suffice to say that we are thrilled to have you and Janet here, and the entire creative team. We have a wonderful creative team. Chris Babbage, who's our musical director, that I'm sure. How many productions have you done with him?
Well, Janet, Chris, and I have been all over the world with this. Singapore and, you know, Korea. We've been everywhere with this.
What a great opportunity to have a show like this that it can be part of your life and that you can share with so many people. And we're thrilled to finally be able to share it. And thank you all for waiting and sticking with us. And I promise you, it will be worth the wait. It is a celebration of just love and light and life and laughter. And thank you, Steve, for joining me today.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank all of you, and we will see you at Paper Mill for Sister Act.